So today we're going to be taking a look at the EleksMaker CNC machine. I'll put a link in the description to it just in case anybody's interested. So I've had quite a few questions asked about after I've assembled it, how do I actually operate the machine? So we're going to be taking a look at that today anyway, and how to operate it. So I'm pretty much a novice myself when it comes to CNC. I don't really know much. Everything I learned off YouTube, and basically a couple of I think it was about a week of frustration trying to get the thing to work at first, but in the end I did get that. So hopefully I can stop your frustration, possibly help some of you in this video. Okay, so let's take a look at it. So the software that I'm using is Universal Gcode Sender, and this is the software which sends the Gcode to the CNC machine. So I've downloaded it, I've unzipped the file, so you'll need to unzip it with WinZip or some kind of compression free software off the internet. And here's the folder with the 4 files in. You need Universal Gcode Sender, so if you click on that it runs from the folder, so it doesn't need installing. Right, so now we need to find out which COM port we're connected to, or USB port we're connected to. So on my machine, originally I had trouble actually getting it connected, and I found that it would, for some reason, I don't know why, but it would only connect to the USB on the front of the machine. So that's the one that I've got it connected to, and that's COM port 3, but if you click on the drop down menu, there'll be several in here, and you'll just have to click on it and try to connect, and it will either connect or it won't, and then you'll just find it by error by searching through them. And the baud rating is 115200, and then all you need to do is just click open, and that will connect the CNC machine to the computer. So we're now connected. So up here you've got file mode, machine control. So if you come over to machine control, up here it says 1 in this box, and that's the step size when you control the CNC manually with these buttons here. So if I click this here, it will move 1 millimeter in the y-axis, or 1 millimeter in the x-axis, and so on in the z-axis. And if you change this to 10, it will obviously move it 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter. So we're going to move 1 centimeter. So if your machine is correct, it should be running like that if it's connected properly. So now we need to create a piece of G-code to be able to send to the CNC machine, because this piece of software, you can't create any G-code in it, you need to use another piece. So we'll take a look at that next. Right, okay, so this piece of software here, what I'm going to be using is Easel. It's a piece of web-based software which you need an active internet connection to use, but you can download the G-code off it and then run it on the CNC afterwards. So I'll put a link in the description to this. I use this all the time, and it's really easy to use, and it does everything that I want it to. I don't really use anything else. So the first thing to do is to input the material dimensions. So the material that I've got on here is around about 6 centimeters by 15, but I've put 60 by 60 because it's not all actually on the bed of the machine, it's overhanging. So I've just put 60 in on the X and 60 on the Y, and the Z axis you need to put the depth of the material, which is 4 millimeters. This isn't always particularly important. It's only really important if you want to go all the way through the material. So if you want to do a hole all the way through, you need to put the exact diameter of the material. And then we need to go on to the cut settings. So this machine, I'm using a 0.8mm end mill, so it's quite thin and easy to break. So I'm going to use a slow feed rate, and I'm going to use the feed rate of 150mm per minute, and plunge rate 150. The plunge rate's not so important because that's just how fast the drill bit plunges down into the material, but I'm going to stick that at 150. I might actually put this to 170, just to, and then I'm going to actually, the depth of pass is how much material you cut at any one pass, so I'm actually going to put 0.4 in here. Actually I might put that back to 150 because I don't want to snap the bit. Obviously if you've got a bigger end mill in there, you can obviously increase the speed slightly, but the spindle in these is not really that strong. It hasn't got a high rotational speed, so you really need to be quite conservative when cutting the material, so I'm going to leave it at that, and hopefully I shouldn't break a bit. And then the bit size you need to put in, so I've got 0.8mm here, you just click, type in whatever you've got in millimeters or inches, and then you can input the material as well. So I don't think this really matters that much, but I'll put cast acrylic in because I'm using acrylic. I think that's everything. Yeah, so when you actually want to change the settings on the feed rate in that, it's got a recommended and then a custom. You need to click on the custom, and then we just need to design whatever we're going to make. So I've got the material dimensions here, and this dashed line here is the size of the material. So whatever we design, we've got to make with inside that box to make it fit. So I'm just going to get a square. I'm just going to make a quick key ring up. And obviously the further into the actual piece of material, the further in it's going to cut. So if say you wanted to cut 2 on here, you'd have to put 1 here and then put another 1 here. So if you go and slap it in the middle, it's obviously going to cut in the centre. If you put it here, it will cut to the bottom left hand corner. Going to come here to the cut and cut it so it goes all the way through, and then you can click that you want to cut it on the outside and then it will cut around the outside of that line that you've just drawn. And then also you can use tabs. If you see here, look, there's some tabs which will hold the piece in place. It won't cut all the way through in those areas. So you need to move these, preferably so they're not on the corner, because if not it can be sometimes quite difficult to get your part out that you've made. Pulled those tabs in there. I'm actually going to make the tabs smaller as well, down to 4mm by 1mm, so it's easier to cut it out. And I'm actually going to use 3, I think. So I'm just going to use 3 tabs, and I'm going to put 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here, and that'll just hold the part in place while the key ring's being cut. So also what you can do is to make these edges rounded to make it look nicer, you can come up here and click shape, and then corner radius. You can put whatever in you want. I'm just going to put 5 in, and there you go. That will curve the corners of it to make it look slightly nicer. And then so I can put the ring through to attach the keys. I'm just going to get a circle and size that and put it here somewhere. And we're going to cut all the way through with this. We need to come to, so it cuts all the way through the material. Did I cut that side? Yeah, that goes all the way through as well. And then I'm just going to come to icons and I'm just going to put something simple on there. I'll just put this little smiley face on there. And I'm not going to have this cut all the way through, I'm just going to have it cut to 1mm depth. And then I think that's about it. Yeah, that's all I'm going to do. And then if you come up here to simulate, that will simulate the tool paths and tell you approximately how long it's going to take to complete, and it says 12 minutes. And also if you zoom in and then take a look at it, wait a second, you can see here how many tool paths there is. There's rows of lines, blue lines, and that's each tool pass. Okay, so is there anything else I need to tell you? No, I don't think so, apart from there's lots of different applications on here that you can use as well. So if you click on the apps bit here, there's a lot of things that you can do. There's like an inlay generator, so if you want to do some inlay on some other wood, like add a piece of mahogany into a piece of plywood, you can do that, make inlay up. There's a box maker, so you can make small boxes. Maze generator, I haven't really used any of these apart from the gear generator. I've used that, that's quite good, and I have made some stuff with that, so that's a handy thing. And there's a replicator, so if you want to do say 2 of these key rings, you can replicate that key ring and then do it again to make 2 at a time or 3 at a time, depending on how you've got the workpiece on the bed of the CNC. But yeah, so there's quite a lot of stuff on here you can do, and there's more stuff being added all the time. So now, to get the G-code to send to the CNC machine, you need to come up here to Machine. Don't worry about this here, it says Machine X-carve. I know you haven't got an X-carve, but I just leave it as that and it works fine. And one bit you might need to adjust is this here, it says spindle control, and sometimes it will be on manual, but you want it on automatic because the spindle on the EleksMaker CNC is an automatic, because you can't adjust the speed of it, so you don't need to change this RPM bit, because I think the max speed of the spindle on here is around 7,000 RPM. So then now you just need to click here, Advanced, and then just leave everything as it is here, don't touch it, and then just click Generate G-code, and then click Export G-code. And just one thing, it's always worth, if I just come out of this just quickly, up here you can name your project. You come in there, you just click it, and then you can rename it to whatever you want. I've called it SM3. And then it just makes it easier to find that file when it goes into the download section, especially if you're doing a lot of engravings. You soon get muddled up when it says Untitled 1, Untitled 2, Untitled 3 and so on. So it's worth changing that. So now, like I said, just go to Machine, then Spindle Control Automatic, and then click Advanced here. Leave this how it is, Generate G-code, and then export the G-code. And then just click OK, and it will save it to the downloads folder. So now if we go over to universal G-code sender. I've just got to plug the CNC in, I forgot. Right, so the CNC is now plugged in. So we'll connect it. I think we're connected. So now we need to zero the CNC machine. So what we need to do is to bring the tool bit so it's at the bottom left hand corner. That's how I've got mine set up. Yours should be the same as well out of the box. So I'm just going to move it down as far as possible. If you're going to do it manually like this, be careful you don't do it too fast, because you can send electrical current back to the stepper motor drivers, and fry the drivers. So you need to do it slowly, don't do it too fast. And then just bring the tool bit. These are the tool bits I'm using. These small little end mills here. I'll put a link in the description to them and some other ones if you're interested. Go take a look. And then you just want to bring this down. What I normally use is a set of feeler gauges with an 0.5mm shim, and then just put that under there and get it to around about the right depth. But I'm just going to just do it by hand as well. And then that's set there, and then you need to come to the software and go on to machine control, and then here it says reset 0. You need to click that and make sure where it says work position here it's 0, 0, 0, and then everything's set to 0, and that means then it knows the height of the tool and where it is in the X and Y axes. So reset 0, it was 0 anyway, but we've just clicked it just to make sure. So now if we go over to file mode, I think I've got everything set right, hopefully. File mode, and then click browse, and then find I think it's SM31, because I made another copy of it, I think. So open that, and then you just need to click send, and it will send it to the machine. Also you can use this visualize here, and this will show you the part that you're going to cut out and the tool paths and whereabouts the tool bit is, which can be handy. So we'll click send, and that will start the machine up, hopefully. Start the machine. Okay, so here it is. Unfortunately, the hole didn't cut all the way through for some unknown reason. I don't know, it might have done just about. Right, so the through hole unfortunately didn't cut all the way through for some unknown reason. So I probably should have done 5mm thickness on this probably. As you can see, the smiley face figured out, and the tabs are on there as well. You can see the little tabs which are holding it in place. Just here, here and down here. So it's usually best to push out towards the back way when you do these. Break them off. If not, it will sometimes take a large chunk out. There we go, and then you can file these little tabs off afterwards. But yeah, that's how you do it anyway. Obviously you might need to make a few adjustments along the way, but that's pretty much it. And this video is going to be pretty long, so yeah, thanks for watching. As I said, I'll put all the links in the description. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.